welcome to Legislative Report. I'm State Representative Kate Harper, the 61st District in Montgomery County. And today we're coming to you from the offices of the Montgomery County SPCA in Conshohocken. They have 3 offices, and we'll be talking about that and about the care of animals and what happens to them when they need new homes. We're talking to Steve Conway, the Humane Educator here at the Montgomery County SPCA. So Steve, thanks for being with us.
My pleasure, thanks for having us.
All right, I always like to let my guests talk a little bit about who you are and where you're from so the viewers know who you are and where you're from.
Okay. I grew up in Willow Grove, Pennsylvania. Was there for most of my childhood, went to Upper Moreland High School, went to LaSalle University to major in elementary education. Graduated from LaSalle and got a job teaching in Philadelphia for about a year and a half, teaching 6th grade for a half a year and then 4th grade for a year. And then this job opened up back in 2008, and it really combined a couple of things I really enjoyed doing. I went to school for being a teacher, so I get to teach kids every day, and I like to work with animals. So to combine teaching and animals, it really worked out well for me, and that was about almost 9 years ago, and been here ever since.
Wow, so you and I are both explorers since
Yep.
I went to LaSalle University too.
Yes, very nice.
All right, so tell me, what does a humane educator do?
I mean, every county is different. There usually is at least one of us in each county at an SPCA or rescue group. What I do here is threefold. One, the educator part is I go to schools, I talk to kids about pet safety, how do you pet a strange animal or an animal you don't know, pet care, what do you do to take care of an animal, with the food, the water, walking, things like that. And we go to pet budgeting, about animals and how much money it costs per month to take care of an animal, where animals live, some things on animal training, and then for the older kids, we'll talk about puppy mills and animal hoarding and things like that. Another part of the job is I do pet therapy in about 20 to 25 hospitals, adult daycares, nursing homes, places like that a month. I bring out either a golden retriever, a rabbit, or a cat. We bring out and say hi to the people who love the chance to pet an animal. It really helps them feel better.
Ah, it's therapy for the humans.
Therapy for the
I'm thinking to
humans.
myself, some dog lying on a couch that you talk to.
That would be nice too. But for the animals, they go into the places, they love the chance to get pet by people, and also they love to eat crumbs off the floor as well. But also, they also get the chance, and it really is very therapeutic for them to, in a place they're not really enjoying, having an animal come in for a few minutes to pet them. It helps calm them down, and it's really good as well. And then I do public relations. It kind of interviews, newspapers, TV, radio, tours, public events, things like that. So it really keeps me busy here.
All right, so since it's your job to know all this, how about explain to the folks, what does the Montgomery County SPCA do?
What we do is
And by the way, does SPCA stand for anything?
It does. The S is for society, the P is for prevention, the C is for cruelty, and the A is for animals. So it's Montgomery County Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals. We've been around in this area for about 108 years, and the SPCA is obviously a national organization. We've been here locally for about 108 years. We have many different jobs that we do here. One I think a lot of people know the most about is adoptions. People are going to come in, we have dogs, cats, sometimes hamsters and rabbits and gerbils and guinea pigs and birds, but we're mainly dogs and cats here, and people can come in, they see an animal that they like, they want to adopt the animal out, there's an adoption fee to go with that, but you can adopt the animals that you see here. Sometimes people turn animals in because they're lost. Someone sees an animal in their neighborhood, it's not their animal, there's no tags, nothing to identify them. Animals get brought back or come to the SPCA, and hopefully the owners can come in and look for them here.
In fact, if a person loses a pet, they would call you, probably.
It'd be an easy place to come look for, because people are going to naturally come to an SPCA. Now, sometimes some police departments have animal control that might bring the animals here, or they might have their own local pounds as well. But usually animals that are lost and are found by somebody do come to one of our branches of the SPCA. Also, people will turn animals in because they can't take care of them anymore. Someone at home is allergic. Some animals don't like each other, or sometimes there's an issue with separation anxiety, or it just costs too much. And people have to realize about when they have an animal as a pet, they have to realize that there's an expense that goes with that, with food and vet bills and a lot of other things that go with that. So they may not be able to afford that much anymore. So the animal gets turned into the SPCA, and hopefully someone comes in and adopts the animal out that way. So those are the main things about adoption. We also have 3 Humane Society police officers. and their job is to investigate any kind of animal cruelty. If there is an animal hoarding case, if there's animal neglect somewhere in the county.
So somebody sees a dog tied up for hours and hours in bad weather?
Could be an animal that's outside in cold weather, an animal that's outside in hot weather, no food, no shelter,
No water.
They can call the SPCA, or if they know of someone nearby that might have 35 or 40 cats living in their house as well. That's an animal hoarding case, and they would call the SPCA, and we have our officers go out and investigate the property, see what's going on there, and take the animals away from the person and issue citations, and then which end up in a court case later on down the line.
Well, sometimes you hear about people hoarding animals because they're trying to do the right thing by them, but it's not a good idea.
Yeah,
Why is that?
People think that if they have, they see animals, they think, well, I love animals, why would I want to take care of them? But the problem that come with that is if you've got 25 or 30 cats in your house that have to be taken care of, and they have to be taken care of properly, there's litter boxes, there's food, and it can become a really nasty place for the animals to live in. It's no good for the animals, it's no good for the homeowner, and it really isn't good for the community at large, because then other animals can get into their homes as well, and it's really just a bad situation for everybody involved.
So what would you do in that case?
What we'd have to do is we would seize the animals, they'd be brought back to one of our SPCA branches. If there's a lot of them, we can spread them out amongst our 3 shelters. We have 3 in the county, so if we have a whole bunch, we can give 10 to Conshohocken, 10 to Perkionville, maybe 10 to Abington, spread out a little bit, and then we'll take a look at them health-wise, get them back to health, and then once any case is settled, the animals could go out again for adoption later on down the line, but only when the case is settled.
Okay, so recently we had a bill in the House of Representatives where we talked about who pays the costs of holding the animal until the person who was cruel to them or hoarded them or whatever is tried.
Yes.
Is that something that's important to the SPCA?
It is, because people don't realize taking care of animals here, if you have 1 or 2 dogs in your house, that can be a big expense by itself. And now imagine a shelter that has 20 or 25 cats, 10 or 15 dogs, maybe a few bunnies and a few hamsters. There's a lot that goes into taking care of those animals, and then all of a sudden you add in 10 or 15 more cats along with that in one shot. That means that we have now take care of 15 more cats, and they have to be taken care of until a case gets settled. So the amount of cat food, medicines, things like that.
They're evidence, I guess.
They have to be held on to because they are the evidence in a cruelty case, so they can't just, we bring the cats in, we can't just say, oh, they're up for adoption, because until the case gets settled, we need to have these cats here. So they need to be taken care of in that time, and that time of being taken care of here, it's a very big expense. So the law that's passed recently is having the owners of the animals
be responsible
for that, because it is a huge undertaking, and they were the property of those owners, so
the cause of the problem.
They need to be responsible in taking care of some of the costs for the animals while they're being housed here.
Okay, so we talked about adoption, we talked about education, we talked about enforcement of animal cruelty laws. What else does the SPCA do?
We also have veterinarians that are on staff here. We have 2 veterinarians, and they're also on call after hours as well for anything from out the sniffles to spaying and neutering, to helping animals that have a broken paw or something. And they do surgeries throughout the county. We're known to do a lot of spaying and neutering here. We do spaying and neutering almost every day here. And any animal that does come through the SPCA before it does get adopted, or before it goes home after adoption, will get spayed or neutered and also get microchipped here as well. We do all the information about getting it registered and things like that. But these veterinarians that have been here for years, and they do the spay and neuterings, some surgeries, and getting the animals back to health. They're here as well.
And it may seem obvious to you, but why is it important that the SPCA spays and neuters a dog or cat before they let them be adopted?
Because the main reason is it's to help control the pet population. It's if animals are allowed to reproduce, and we've got a litter of 5 or 6 or 8 animals, puppies or kittens, and then they are not fixed, and then they help to have 8 or more.
And each one of them has 5 or 8.
And
that's
over
a problem.
time, it really multiplies, and not every home can take care of these animals. So if we have more and more and more and more and more animals, and maybe not as many homes, I mean, homes, really shouldn't have 5 or 6 or 7 animals in their homes. And if you got all these animals that are looking for homes, it can be a problem. So to help control that, it's really important we do spay and neutering of all the animals that come through here to help limit that, so we don't have an influx of 30 or 40 or 50 animals coming through. Because in the summertime, it is peak breeding season for cats, so we will see 5 or 6 kittens come in at one time, and in the summertime our shelter will get really full, especially with
Really?
kittens. Yeah.
So it sounds like summer would be a great time to adopt a pet.
It would be. I mean, summer is really big because we do get a lot more animals in. In the wintertime, we're not as busy, but in the summertime, like now, we are really, we can get pretty full.
With puppies and
Puppies
kittens.
And people like to adopt puppies and kittens. So
they can grow with the family.
Exactly. And it's important to help them to grow with that, but also understand there is training involved with that as well.
That's true.
And it's
hard to do training for a dog if you get it too old, I think.
Well, I mean, you can teach dogs new tricks, so to speak.
Old dogs new
You can
tricks?
teach old dogs new tricks, but it is the earlier you start teaching them, the better it is, and they will learn with more repetition, because an animal that is 6, 7, 8 years old may know its habits from its old home and then has to almost relearn everything going forward. So it can be a little bit tougher. It can be done, but it can be a little bit tougher to do. So that's why it's easier for the animals to be trained when they're younger. But it is a process, and puppies are going to chew things. It's part of life. So, but the training is very, very important, and people have to realize that before they adopt a puppy or a kitten.
So it sounds like summertime's a good time if a family's looking to adopt a young animal,
Yes.
puppy or kitten, and they could just contact the SPCA or come in and look around?
They can come in. We're open 7 days a week. We're open
Wow.
week 11 to 4:30, Saturdays 10 to 3, and Sundays 12 to 3. And our website, Montgomery County SPCA.org, is open all the time. And you can see on our website who's up for adoption. It'll list a name, an ID number for the animals. Is it male or female? Are they fixed? When were they turned into the SPCA, and which shelter are they at? And then they can call our shelters at Conshohocken, Abington, or Perkiomenville and see exactly what we have, and then why were they turned in? Are they like kids? Are they housebroken? Really important information for owners to know before they do adopt an animal.
Please stay with us. This is Kate Harper. We're doing legislative report from right here at the Montgomery County SPCA in Conshohocken, and we'll be back in just a moment.
Did you know that the main entrance to the Pennsylvania State Capitol building is home of 2 bronze doors that each weigh over 1 ton? As the primary entrance to this beautiful architectural building, the bronze doors signify the many accomplishments and sacrifices endured throughout the history of the Commonwealth. The magnificent archway over top the doors contains a portrait of William Penn, founder of the Keystone State. The upper panels on the doors commemorate the forming of our nation, with the signing of the Declaration of Independence and Constitution. The bottom panels depict the laborious industries of the Commonwealth, including coal mining and agriculture. Now you know.
Welcome back to Legislative Report. I'm State Representative Kate Harper, the 61st District in Montgomery County. Today we're coming to you from the Montgomery County SPCA in Conshohocken, and my guest, Steve Conway, is talking about the importance of what the SPCA does, and particularly the importance of adoption. So let's talk about it.
Okay.
Have you ever adopted an animal?
I have. Well, I have. Part of the job that I have here as educator is you go into a school. You can talk to kids for half an hour, but they kind of want to see an animal. They like to see my face, but also the animals are a lot better. So
sure, we want to see animals too, and we're going to show a few in a little while.
But I couldn't really have an animal growing up because my mom was dog and cat hair allergic. So when I got to the SPCA, I could adopt an animal. So the dog that I have, Faith, the 9-year-old golden retriever, she goes home with me every night, and I bring her to work with me every day. and she's the main animal that goes out with me to the school programs and doing pet therapy. And then we have a cat and a rabbit as well, and they're with me as well. They're kind of like our mascots here at the shelter, so I adopt them. Adopt them.
All right, well, let's talk about why people should adopt these animals that you have.
It's really important because the animals that are here, a lot of people may have some myths or some misconceptions, saying, oh, well, the animals there are mutts. They're not these purebred champions. Well, just because they're mutts, they need a home too. And they're sweet dogs, they're lovable cats that need to get a home as well. The breed we get the most of here is pit bulls, and when people hear the word pit bull,
they get scared.
They think it's a very mean, nasty, all it's going to do is want to fight. And the pit bulls we have here are very sweet, lovable. They just want to lick your face. That's all they want to do. They don't want to bite. They just want to lick and love and be loved. So people think they see a pit bull, they might get scared, but really there's no reason to be scared of having.
Even people with small children?
You got to be careful around things like that. Our policy is we don't adopt out to really young kids with pit bulls, but and usually the only animal in the house. But people, if they see a neighbor that has a pit bull, we'll say, they might say, well, I don't want to have my child pet a pit bull. They're really sweet. If the animal is trained properly by the owner to be a nice, loving dog, then people should have no problem seeing a pit bull in the neighborhood or something like that. It's going to be just fine.
All right, good. So in addition to dogs and cats, I think you also have horses every now and then too, don't you?
We have, right now, we have 4 horses at our shelter in Perkiomenville because it's in the rural part of Montgomery County, so
more room
and also more farms as well. We do have 4 horses up there right now: Dusty, Otto, Carrera, and Philly. Now, Carrera and Philly are brother and sister. They've been there for years. They're there to kind of retire with us, kind of hang out and relax with us up there. They're not up for adoption, but they have plenty of room up there to walk around in. And we do have a barn. Sometimes we get animals in. We've had chickens, we've had pigs, we had goats, we've had sheep, and we got homes for them. But the horses, they're a bit older, so we had to just let them relax and retire with us up at Perkiomenville.
Okay, good. Now, what other animals might there be other than cats, dogs, horses? You said maybe rabbits?
We do have, usually we get some small animals in. We get rabbits, hamsters, gerbils, guinea pigs. We do even get some mice and rats in sometimes. There are mice and rat people out there.
People who like mice and rats.
Exactly, yes. They're for to get adopted, and they come in occasionally. We get a few of them in, but mainly we get rabbits and guinea pigs and things like that. So, and I think they're good pets because I said nice little starter pets for kids that want to show they can take care of an animal instead of having to do all the walking and the feeding and the bathing of a
They are
dog.
good starter pets. My kids started with a hamster, I think.
Yeah. And they're really good pets for kids to start with to show responsibility. Instead of having the 120-pound St. Bernard, have a nice little rabbit or a hamster, and they'll give them the idea of pet ownership and understanding about what's needed.
Feeding and
cleaning cages and giving water and that kind of stuff. It's a nice way to get started with taking care of a pet.
All right. So those are all good reasons to adopt. Mm-hmm. And I know that you have here at the shelter, you have volunteers who help you out.
We do.
You have people who just love animals. What can they do for you as a volunteer?
Volunteers here, we have people that come in once a week, twice a week, even maybe more than that, to walk the animals, give food, give water. Those are the main things our volunteers can do here. And people may think, well, I don't know, but we'll train you to know what to do and how to do it properly.
So if you're a person who has a little extra time and you love animals, you could use their help.
Absolutely. We could have you apply for a volunteer application process, and then you can talk to our director of volunteers either at any of our shelters. And when there's a spot available for volunteers, people can come in, they'll get an orientation of the shelter and know what to do, what not to do, where you can go, where you can't go. And then you come in on your schedule to walk the animals or to help feeding and help giving water and things like that. People also want to help out the SPCA, but they want to do something different. We've had people that have collected money through
fundraisers,
bake sales, lemonade stands, school projects.
How about Eagle Scout projects?
Absolutely. We've got people that have had Eagle Scout projects and I've got a bunch of pages of information where people say, well, what can I do for a project? And give a list of ideas for a project that people can email me, and I can email them a list of the projects, and if they see something they like, they can give me a call, we can talk more about it. But we've had a few people that have done anything from, trying to make dog beds to just collecting supplies, setting up boxes in their local supermarket, church, school, whatever, and then collecting the stuff and then bring it over to the SPCA as part of their scout project. I'd be happy to help them get that stuff going.
We did that once in my legislative office, and a dog and puppy Christmas type of a thing, and I was amazed. People are very generous.
People are. I mean, people, they say, well, I want to help out dogs, I want to help out cats, or maybe they say, hey, I adopted from the SPCA in the past, and they want to give back in a way. And people do it that way as well, by just collecting stuff. And a lot of the stuff we get in is from donations, either from scout projects, schools, Brownie troops, Girl Scout troops, giving us stuff as well. So it's a great way for people to help out the SPCA. They don't really want to work here, which we'd love to have them work here. Get at least 18 years old to do as a minimum age to volunteer here.
Okay.
But if they're not 18, they want to do a school project, they can still help out the SPCA even if they're not working here.
And the kinds of items that you need are what? Garden variety dog and cat food?
Absolutely. Dog food, cat food, some treats, towels, blankets. And one thing that we do need that people not associated with an SPCA is cleaning supplies. We have to come through in the morning and clean up with bleach and mops and trash bags and Febreze and all that kind of stuff. And it's really a great way for, we actually have to do it to keep the shelter smelling nice and clean. But people think, well, you're a shelter, you need food, and we do. But also the cleaning supplies are things that will always help out as well.
Okay, so let's switch gears a little bit and talk about some other legislation that we have going through the legislature right now.
Yeah.
A bill just passed the House, I think almost unanimously, maybe not quite, called Libre's Law. And it was sponsored by a Montgomery County representative, Todd Stevens.
Yes.
And that bill really enhanced penalties for some types of animal cruelty. Do you think that's helpful?
I think it is. I think it's probably long overdue as well. And I think anytime you have strict, severe penalties for anything, especially the animal cruelty laws, I think people are going to really think, I don't want to be in jail. These penalties are so strict and so severe that hopefully it will deter people from any kind of animal cruelty act. So we really feel it's long overdue and a real improvement.
You do think that it helps if we make the legislation, a little stronger with respect to animal cruelty and what happens to you?
Absolutely. I mean, any kind of animal cruelty act is inhumane, and the punishments need to be there for people that do engage in any kind of animal cruelty act.
All right. Are there other things that we could do as a government that might help the mission of the SPCA to sort of stop cruelty to animals and deal with it when it occurs?
I mean, I think people just have to realize, just in general, just if you see any kind of animal cruelty act in your neighborhood, call your local SPCA or rescue, call your local animal control if your police has animal control. Just let people know, or let our SPCAs know, our police departments know that there's an animal cruelty act going on in your neighborhood, and then they go out and take a look at it and investigate it, and then get the animals seized and get them looked at and proper vet care, and then get rehabilitated if the issue is really, really severe. So really getting the word to people saying, hey, call the police, call the SPCAs. They want to help these animals out and make sure these animals are treated properly.
Okay, so it's if you see something, say something.
See something, say something, yep.
That would help.
That would help.
All right, in addition to that, are there other things that regular people could do? And I have to say, I know people who adopt from the SPCA and are so sad they can't take all of them home.
I know, it's an occupational hazard. You see 15 dogs and 20 cats, you want to take everything home. But
aren't they so cute? I'll take them all.
Yeah, I know.
But that's not realistic, as we discussed.
No, it really isn't.
So what can they do to help?
Well, I mean, just letting people know, or if they see a dog, people think, oh, well, we have a waiting list. If I want a German Shepherd and you have one, you let me know about it. It's a first come, first served basis. But if they know of a friend that wants a certain breed and we end up having it, our website's updated every hour, they can call their friend and say, hey, go to the Abingdon shelter, go to the Conshohocken shelter. They have a
German Shepherd,
St. Bernard, Cocker Spaniel, Beagle, whatever, and then let their people know. And it's a lot cheaper to adopt from an SPCA than going to a pet store or things like that, because going to a pet store will cost a lot more money.
Right.
And the animals here have vet care all the time. They're looked after all the time as well, and they're really taken care of nicely here. So when you get the animal home, you're getting a really sweet dog who, you'll know everything about it. You'll know if it's housebrood or not, if it likes kids or not, you know how old it is, and you'll get a lot of information about it. before taking it home. So just alerting your friends and family that want a certain breed. If that breed comes into the SPCA, they can be more than happy to take it home.
All right, another legislative issue that we've been dealing with, and we have, revised our laws a bit to deal with it, are something called puppy mills.
Yes.
What are puppy mills?
Puppy mills are places where there is rampant breeding going on of dogs. It's usually in rural areas. There's maybe other areas too, but it's a lot of times in rural areas. And what happens with that is there's just a lot of breeding going on, and really the profit that can be made by selling these dogs is more important than the upkeep and the care of these animals. It can be a lot of inbreeding as well, and when there is inbreeding, there can be health problems with hips,
Sure.
with legs.
I was going to say, if one of the dogs has a bad gene for hips or something and is mated with another dog of the same family,
Yeah.
you're going to really cause that problem to appear in the next generation.
Exactly, and it could go on from there. So the puppy mills, they're just rampant breeding, and really the main concern by the owners of these mills is for profit to sell the animals as opposed to the general health, well-being, and upkeep of the animals, and that breeding can take place.
All right, so does the SPCA look and make sure that the animal's going to go to a good home?
Absolutely. What we do is if someone wants to adopt from us, we do background checks, because sometimes people may want to adopt an animal and then we find out they've turned animals in a whole lot of times. They're part of a cruelty complaint, and we have a no-adopt list for things like that.
Like a no-fly list for an airplane.
Exactly.
Huh?
So anything where we will make sure that a person is suitable enough to adopt an animal, and if they're not, then they would be on our no-adopt list, and they would not be able to adopt. We can do background checks, and we do home checks as well for animals as well that people want to adopt. But we are very stringent on our background checks, and if people are not suitable, who want to adopt, if they think they want to adopt an animal and they're not suitable for it, then they're on our no-adopt list.
But having said that, the vast majority of people come here to the shelter to adopt a pet, find somebody that they can love.
Absolutely. I mean, people may come in here with a certain thing, like, okay, I want to adopt a certain breed, but then as they walk through here, they might see a dog that really pulls at them, or a cat that really pulls at them, and they might have one idea going in, but then they go home with something completely different, and it really makes the animal's day, week, month, year to get a home, and the animals are so happy to get a forever home with people. So it's really seeing adoption here is a really great thing.
And that's a good place for us to stop when we're out of time. So thank you very much,
My
Steve.
pleasure.
I'm State Representative Kate Harper, 61st District, Montgomery County. Thank you for watching. Join us again for Legislative Report.